Hello, race fans. Today we have an exciting race for you. If Shellington wins, you guys have a test next Friday. And the 6th graders just took a test, so you still have another test. If Quasi wins, you guys have a quiz on Friday. But if Captain Barnacles wins, then you guys get suckers. The next time I see you, I owe you all suckers. So let's see who's gonna win this exciting race. First, here goes Shellington. All right, now here goes Quasi. Last but not least, here comes Captain Barnacles. Oh, almost won. That's too bad. Okay, looks like you guys have a quiz. Good job. All right, welcome back. First off, you do have a quiz on Friday, but also know I will give you suckers the next time our paths cross. Okay, so that's what's going on with that. Game plan for the week: you got a small video today, a reading tomorrow, a small video on Thursday, quiz on Friday, and then from then on out, it's Jeopardy and review, except for next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, Mr. Evans live, 10 o'clock. Put it on your calendar. Zoom meeting. Be there if you can be there. Okay? So let's get into this. We're going to talk about women's suffrage. Real quick, where does the women's right movement begin? Seneca Falls. Excellent. You knew that. Okay, great. So the women's suffrage amendment, that's the 19th Amendment. We'll talk a little bit about prohibition. Last time we talked about the temperance movement. The temperance movement was to reduce the problems caused by alcohol. And out of that temperance movement comes the prohibition movement. Let's just ban alcohol. If we can ban alcohol, we can get rid of these problems. What they don't foresee is that you get a whole bunch of new problems, okay? What does suffrage mean? No, you know that. The right to vote. So what does women's suffrage mean? Women's right to vote. Perfect. Okay. What amendment is it? The 19th Amendment. Excellent. Okay. Very good. Why do women get the right to vote in the West first? Remember this from last year? Why do women get the right to vote?
The vote is the foundation of democracy. It is how we choose the people who pass the laws that govern us. Today, where all adult citizens can vote, it's easy to forget the days when half the population could not. The roots of women voting grew out of the pioneer experience of the West. For women, the crusade for suffrage was one of the longest and drawn-out political reforms in American history. The struggle for reform came to national attention in 1848 at the Seneca Falls Convention in New York, where women and men held discussions concerning the rights of women. It ended 72 years later in 1920 with the passing of the 19th Amendment. While women in the East and Midwest were not able to vote until 1920, thousands of women out West have been casting their votes for decades in local and state elections. The first breakthrough in all-male voting began in 1869 when Wyoming Territory approved full and equal suffrage for scarcely 1,000 women. Through this event, excitement for women's rights spread quickly across the Rocky Mountain region.
It was a very new thing in the middle of the 19th century for women to believe that they were equal with men. From the very ancient world till the middle of the 19th century, when women started to be educated, women were not considered the same as men. And here all of a sudden, along with some of the other reforms that took place around that time, like the abolitionist movement, which was dedicated to getting rid of slavery for African Americans, women started to say, well, we, in addition to supporting this movement, we need to have our own sense of being empowered.
By 1804, the U.S. was growing rapidly. The West was opened through the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, the Homestead Act of 1862, and the Transcontinental Railroad in 1869. Gold was found, creating a dream of wealth and freedom looming on the horizon. Thousands of women and men gave up traditional life in the East in exchange for new beginnings. There was plenty of work to be done, allowing women to alter their gender roles.
here in the West, women came out with their men to settle the West, and oftentimes the men died. If the women survived childhood, they tended to be stronger and healthier than the men. So the women took over the sheep ranching. The women took over what the men were doing. And in the West, it was kind of like based on your talent and what you could do.
Okay. It's the labor. You're out here in the West. As a woman, you're doing the same work as your husband. You're both digging ditches. You're both planting seeds, but only one of you has political power. And the women say, wait a second, that's not fair. We're in this 50-50. We should get the right to vote. Okay? Technically in Wyoming, women are given the right to vote first, but as far as actually casting ballots, Utah was first. So it's up to you whether you want to say Wyoming or Utah is first. It's a little bit of semantics. The other thing that's a little different about Utah is that Brigham Young wanted to show the country that the women were not oppressed. And so he thought, hey, look, we'll give them the right to vote. It shows that we're more open and free and democratic than the rest of the country. And then it also shows that, this is the will of the people that they have decided by popular sovereignty. Okay. Here's some fun cartoons. That's my favorite. Don't forget the women's right movement. Seneca Falls. Excellent. Remember this? Very good. Very good. Okay. That's it. I know it was short. That's it for today. Don't forget to check into the experiment in the video that I showed you. It's the X-35 or X-37B, the spacecraft. They're beaming electricity on this next experiment. I gave you guys the press release. Check that out, and I'll see you back here soon.